I'm not a crook.
The Iranian regime needs to know that if it stays on its present course, the international community is prepared to impose serious consequences. The United States joins other nations in sending a clear message. We will not allow Iran to have a nuclear weapon.
Welcome back to Harbor. That was Vice President Dick Cheney issuing a strict warning to Iran: stop your nuclear program or else what exactly? That is the Harbor debate tonight. Should the United States bomb Iran now? Joshua Moravchik says yes, he is. And by the way, Joshua is a resident scholar at the American Enterprise Institute. And Jim Walsh, who's down here from MIT, says no bombing to Iran. He's a research associate at the Security Studies program at MIT. I want to ask you, first of all, you met with Ahmadinejad recently. We'll get to that in a moment, but make your case, sir. Josh, make your case for why we should bomb now Iran.
Well, there are 2 points, Chris. One is that Iran having a nuclear weapon would create a series of really terrible risks, which I'd be glad to elaborate.
Go for it.
And,
make the case.
Well, one is this is the regime that is the biggest international sponsor of terrorism, has a long history of using its own diplomatic facilities, diplomats in terrorist acts and in fomenting and supplying terrorist groups. Secondly, this is a regime that is on a mission that starts with hegemony over the Middle East, and it sees itself in a sense at war with us. It's already arming our enemies in Iraq and in Afghanistan and anywhere else it can. And if it gets a nuclear weapon, it will use that as a kind of umbrella with which to push forward its quest for dominance in the region.
What do you think it will use the weapon for? What's your notion of how it will use this nuclear weapon?
Well, the best scenario is, as I said, using it as an umbrella, just a threat against its neighbors so that it can become the dominant power of the Middle East. The worst is that it would hand it off to terrorists.
Basically to Finlandize the region.
To Finlandize
the Soviets used to do.
I think, right, a combination of intimidating people and also being the champion of radical Islam, of a kind of Muslim resurgence.
So the prestige factor of owning that weapon, even if they never use it, is horrible.
I think exactly. That is a prestige.
Jim?
Well, a couple of things. First and foremost, it would be extremely costly. I mean, if you like the war in Iraq, you would love the war in Iran, whether it's battlefield deaths in Afghanistan or Iraq, because, Iran's not just going to sit there and take it. They're going to come back after us. If we have an IED problem today, imagine what it's going to be like.
What would they do if we sent in our Air Force, or with the Israelis did it with them, or however we do it, and bomb the hell out of their nuclear sites, set them back 5 years? What would they do next to respond?
I think they'd flood Iran and Afghanistan with intelligence operatives and members of the Revolutionary Guard and retaliate. They've made those threats.
On the ground.
On the ground.
U.S. forces.
Absolutely.
That's it?
No, I think that's the beginning. You can imagine what world oil markets would be like, but I want to come back.
How would they? No, you got to help me here.
Yeah, sure.
Explain how they would. You're the political scientist. What would they do to our oil markets, our sources of supply in that part of the world?
Well, immediately the price of oil will go up, and it will go up dramatically. Why? Because oil traders could not depend on a secure supply of oil coming out of Iran or other countries.
Striking at the Straits and shutting off the oil flow as a retaliatory step.
I'm concerned about that, but actually I think there are bigger fish to fry here that make me more worried than that. I worry about U.S. men and women in Afghanistan who suddenly have not only the Iraqis that they're fighting, they have a whole other group of people who are fighting, and they're working for a government. They're not just sort of
ragtag. You expect the people to go into the Iranian National Guard?
I expect Iranian intelligence. But, let's come back to the issue of terrorism. This is a legitimate issue to raise. 2 things on this. One, there is no country in the history of the world that has transferred a weapon of mass destruction to a terrorist group. Not a nuclear weapon, radiological weapon, biological weapon, chemical weapon. People
What's the fence? What stops them?
Because they don't want it coming back and blowing back against them. They can't trust these crazy guys.
Because that's the one that scares people the most in this country.
Well, the fact that no one's done it yet, that we haven't had this kind of terrorist regime in possession of a nuclear weapon before. It's kind of, say it hasn't happened until now, doesn't really tell us anything because...
Isn't there a bigger danger that one of the former Russian or Soviet republics, where there's an engineer there who's hard up for cash? Isn't that always been the biggest fear, that you could go buy a suitcase bomb that's available?
Well, I don't think
already been made?
I don't think they are available, but that is a fear.
Do you think the Iranians are capable of developing the kind of nuclear weaponry that could be transported by a terrorist group?
I'm sure they are. I mean, I don't know how long it'll take them. I mean, I don't know
whether... You should bomb them now, though.
Yes, because I don't know, because it could take them longer, it could take them shorter.
Do you know of anybody who believes that in your area of expertise at AEI who believes that they're on the verge of getting a weapon that could be transported by a terrorist group? You say bomb now. That's what I'm asking. Because there's a lot of routes down the road that we can use, but you say bomb now. Don't wait for the diplomacy. Don't wait for economic sanctions.
We've waited.
No, but you're saying bomb now, so you have to argue that there's an imminent threat, it seems to me. Don't you?
I don't mind if we bomb next month or the month after. I think we have to do it sometime in a short time frame.
Why?
Because we don't know how long. We've consistently...
No one believes that you condense the process of developing a nuclear weapon that would be transportable, even delivered by airplane, in a couple of months, do you? You know anybody believes that?
In a couple of months?
Well, you said soon, if not now. Look, I'm just trying to follow your logic. Why attack now?
Well, Chris, it could be, as I said, it doesn't have to be this minute, but we have to...
How about a year from now?
A year from now might be soon enough. The point that I'm trying to make is that there's no alternative way to stop them. So whether we do it this month or next month or next month, there's no diplomatic way.
Sir, but I respect you coming on and you're a logical thinker. But let's go to the logic of this. The one reason why to bomb them now is you don't trust the incoming presidency, the next president of the United States, to do it. So you'd say, let's get Bush to do it. He's the most likely guy to do it.
No, Chris, that's not right. What I'm saying is that there's no alternative way to stop them, that we've tried diplomacy, we've tried sanctions.
What about all the consequences that Jim laid out?
Well, hold on. There's no alternative way to stop them, and therefore, and we don't know exactly how long it's going to take them to get a nuclear weapon.
But nobody says months.
Yeah, but we actually, in the past, we disastrously underestimated how long it would take the Soviet Union. We underestimated how long it would take China. We wildly underestimated the...
Can I make a comment? We didn't know how many East Germans they had. They got a hell of a lot of German scientists helping them back in those days, in the late 40s. The Russians didn't develop the nuclear weapon without the Germans. Because we know...
has a lot of German help, actually.
Do they?
A lot of the technology that they have comes from Germany. Yes, it does.
Okay, well, I think we've got... Your last point, quickly.
Well, just on the issue of terrorism, if we're concerned about terrorism, bombing Iran is absolutely the worst thing you can do. Why? It will unite the Arab and Muslim world. It is giving al-Qaeda this giant gift. Hey, come join our cause. We'll help fight
Can you live with a nuclear Iran?
That's not my goal. That's not what... I'd rather not. I don't want to. I think we've had countries go nuclear.
Would you prefer a nuclear Iran to a war?
Yes, on the theory that we can roll it back. Remember, North Korea got nuclear weapons. We didn't bomb them to the Stone Age, and now they're just disabling their reactor. The history of the nuclear age is filled with countries that started down the path.
Are you more afraid of a guy who's drunk like young Lee or whatever his name is, or a religious fanatic?
Kim Il-sung. Not Kim Il-sung, Kim Jong-il. A religious fanatic. But Ahmadinejad is not calling the shots.
Drunks aren't as scary as religious fanatics. Thank you, gentlemen. You're good guests. Thank you both.
Absolutely.
It was a very seasoned debate by two experts. Anyway.